Start with the challenges that Orlando presents.
No, it's been a little while since we played them. Yeah, they're a good team. I think, to be honest, I think in possession they're the team that probably most expresses similar characteristics to us. And the way they move and the way in their positional play, they have variations. They have different players who occupy different positions, but their positions are pretty consistent. I think they have some really interesting sort of fluid parts in possession and some guys, some good quality players. They look comfortable on the ball, and some guys that can hurt you on the attack, right? So I think they're a good team that you have to do a really good job of containing and being able to identify who's going into what positions and not get pulled apart and get drawn into situations where you expose yourself. So it's going to require a lot of communication on our side to talk through some of the movements that they do. Try to keep them out of positions where they can hurt us as much as we can, because they're willing to run through. They're vertical at good moments, so they put some stress on your back line because they will run through the back line and they'll cause you to make some decisions. Like I said, they have good quality players all around the field, so they're interesting. On the defensive side, again, just an organized team that, if we can do good things with the ball and continue to create uncertainties for them, then I think, again, we can establish our possession in the game. It's just going to be, again, things we're continuing to work on is turning possession into real chances, turning real chances into goals, and getting the timing on some of those things right, and details inside of those moments better. Because even in the Minnesota game, I could pick out 5 or 6 instances where just one little better decision, or the pass played 5 yards in front instead of at someone's feet, turns what looks like a promising attack into a real promising attack, and instead it would be turned into a possession for us. And so, again, details inside of the game that we got to be sharp on those things to be able to create again, quality chances. But they're a good team. I'm impressed with the games that I've watched and how they've been able to, again, use the ball and create good moments.
That was my next question. The progress you've seen of the goal create the creative chances there. Have you seen that sort of develop over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, again, I mean, I think it's an interesting moment because what's been a challenge for us sometimes is we give up the first goal, and then the opposition is emboldened sometimes to sit a little lower, stay a little more compact. The game it takes longer for us to get the game to open up a little bit, where some of those spaces might open up. And so we're having to work in really tight spaces where every detail, every little split second matters in the ability to create chances. So what I saw in the last game is we had a few good chances, but I felt like we're one detail, 2 little details away from that being 5-6 chances instead of two or 3 chances. And so those are a lot of things we're doing on video. We're trying to work on the field to get guys in the right spaces, to get the game to be change rhythms a little faster, things like that. So I think we're coming along. I just think our margins are a little tight at the moment, and I think our margins will start to improve as we continue to get healthy. And I say that because Joe's speed is irreplaceable, in terms of what he's capable of doing. And so little things like that can help us, but I think we're making progress because I think we're recognizing the things, and then on the training field, when I see us working, we're taking those details more into consideration than maybe we were 2 weeks ago. And so, and then defensively, it's the same thing. It's details. I felt like in the last match, we turned some situations that were very benign into very dangerous situations because of a decision here or there, and then we start getting each other into a tizzy almost, and we end up exposing ourselves, when if we just stay and recognize that this situation isn't dangerous and we just hold our position a little longer, it doesn't become that little chaotic scene that it became. And so again, sometimes inside of that, it's just the quality of our decisions and making sure that we're applying the right solutions at the right times. But again, the goals we gave up were unfortunately a shot that probably is going out of bounds that we leave in front of the goal, and then a penalty kick off of a handball. It's not to say there wasn't other chances in the games, but those are the goals we gave up, and those are things that we've got to also eliminate. Is the ways we've been kind of hurting ourselves or putting ourselves behind the game a little bit.
Let's go to Josh.
Hey, Greg, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it. I know that you were talking about defense a little bit, but you guys really sort of morphed that defense just from the start of the year to now. Injuries, whether it's goalkeeping, whether it's Sankan for Emmy, that type of thing. Do you feel like you're getting that good balance that you're there, or it's a long season. I'm sure you're not done tinkering, but do you feel like you're getting somewhere with that defense?
Yeah, I think when we talk about defense, for me, it starts with our front group and how they are making the game more predictable for our guys to win balls behind them, where we're being more efficient about not allowing the opposition to just circulate the ball in us and move us around. So for me, the defending is, and I'm sure for you too, from back to front. It's front to back. It's everybody and how we make the game more efficient for ourselves. And to be able to protect ourselves and keep it under control and all those kinds of things. And so we've actually flirted with a few different things just because of the nature of the players and the profiles that we have with this particular group and how we even want to defend from front to the midfield. And then obviously within the back line, we've had some adjustments, with the right back injuries with Mickey and with, Emmy and Zanka and the guys working through that. Obviously left side, John's been not healthy. So we certainly have been going through our bounces in that, but ultimately it's what is our collective view of how we want to defend so that we put our guys in the best positions to be successful, not just in the defending side, but also in the transition actions. And so those are things we've been playing around a little bit with just because, again, from the profiles of the players that we have currently or have had available, it's been a little bit different than maybe where we were or where we expected to be coming into this situation. And so I see things coming around. I see I see some good moments. Like I said, it comes down to, at times for me, defending comes down to could be one individual decision, and if that individual decision is the wrong one, it can set everything a little bit into a motion that becomes reactive instead of where we're just staying in control. And there's a handful of those in the last game where we really reviewed them on video, and we need to clean up that decision. And I think the game actually looks pretty clean from a lot of perspectives. And so, we're working through those things as a group. We're working through those things as a group collectively to become a good, solid defending team and set ourselves up to be a good transition team and also a good possession team that can be very good at building speed and creating the final action. So it's details within each one of those phases, and as far as I'm concerned, really.
And then injury updates on Joe. I know you were expecting him to be back, but Marco, Cuevas, Sanabria, Nelson. There's a little list there.
Well, Joe has been in training all week, so he will be available this weekend. So it's nice, really been nice to have Joe back into the fold. Again, things become a lot more dynamic with Joe. There's no two ways about it, and so that's an interesting piece for us. Marco, still kind of on the return to play. Haven't really, to be honest, seen him outside in the last sort of week, so we're working through the details. I don't know the exact timeline of when that would be. Don't have an answer. I don't think it's long. I just don't know. It's just not short. like when I say short, this weekend. Sanabria, a couple weeks away. It's just healing because it's a fracture in the collarbone, but he's on the field and he's working. And once he's safely able to play, he'll be ready to go right away. There's not a process there other than just healing. Mauricio is probably, I would say, a couple weeks away. He's starting to do field work and getting himself ready to go. Am I missing anyone? I feel like
John.
John. Yeah, John's been building his way into training this week, and I would put him day to day for Saturday, depending on just what all he gets through tomorrow. Today he had a little bit of a controlled day just because he had been put in good work the last 2 days. So tomorrow we want to build him in, and if he's ready, then he'll be available on Saturday, and if not, we will prepare him for Tuesday.
Thanks, Greg.
You got it.
Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, Greg.
Hi, Scott.
How much would a league win help this team, and in what ways?
Who? I'm sorry.
How much would a league win help this team, and in which ways?
Yeah, good. Look, wins are always, they reinforce the work that you're putting in on the training field. They reinforce the progress that we're looking to make. And I mean that internally, I mean it externally, in all ways. Winning is huge. It's an emotional boost. And so it's important. It's important. I think we as a group are recognizing, the ways that and I think Tucker said it well, that every day the ways we can get better. And as guys are getting opportunities through this time of the year and through this moment, it's the opportunity for those guys to show what they can bring to this group and how they're going to help. And so while we have guys out, other guys are growing and will become important members of what this longer term through the course of the season looks like. But to your question, wins are always important because they reinforce the work that you're doing week in and week out, and they bring a positive emotion that just keeps driving guys forward. So those are always beneficial, again, emotions that you want to have inside of your space.
Are you in or are you nearing must-win territory?
No, I mean, if we're getting down to like MLS, sort of, what are you? If you're talking about the Supporters Shield, yes, we are there. If you're talking about, having a sound season and building your team and getting yourself in the playoffs and having a chance to win a championship, I don't think we're in must-win territory. I think we're in territory where we need to make sure that we keep guys moving forward and we need to win. Yes, I believe in that, but I think the key for us is recognizing that we don't really haven't had the access to the best version of the LA Galaxy quite yet. And so I think if we're putting our best group out there every single week and we're not able to get results, then I would have maybe a different response to you. I think we know we're trying to build this group and that we're trying to get guys back and healthy, and there's a lot of points out there in the grand scheme of things that we can get after. But look, that doesn't mean that winning isn't important. It just means that I don't think it's like must win or we're bust at this point. We're a little early for that.
And lastly, what version of Joe do you expect to see this weekend? How close is he to being the Joe that we see at his best?
Again, the only thing that Joe hasn't been doing is playing games, but Joe has been doing everything else. I mean, we played 11v11 yesterday. He played the full 11v11 that we played yesterday. He looked very good. So, physically he's really ready to go. But he hasn't had a preseason. He hasn't played a real game in a long time. And so, I don't think it's fair to me to say Joe's going to go out there and be the sharpest version of what we've ever seen of Joe. It's just not a fair response. Like, he needs to get some games under his belt, reconnect with his partner and partners over there on the side or in the spaces that he's working. And that may happen really fast, or it may take a game or two. I don't really have the answer to that, but what I know is it's been since the final since Joe's played a game, and so it's not like we should all be expecting Joe to be at his highest, sharpest moment when he hits the field. I know his emotion is he can't wait to get on the field, and he's flying and training at top speed, and he looks great. But in terms of all the things that come with having a great game, that there's more to that than just being ready physically like that.
Yep. Well, thank you, Greg.
Yep.
Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, Greg. Thank you for your time. Obviously, you were talking about defense earlier. Orlando coming into this game, lead the league with 13 goals, second in MLS and shots on target. How confident are you that the back line and obviously the rest of the team can be able to kind of hold down Orlando and stop that attacking momentum Saturday night? Thank you.
Yeah, look, I'm confident in our group and on what we're doing, and I think that requires doing it in two ways. One is we've got to be good with the ball. We've got to have our fair share of control of the game at home and in possession, and make them defend lower in the field and hurt them, and find ways that we can hurt them and finish attacks. Make some of their good attacking players really have to defend and not allow them to take up really positive positions for transition moments and things like that. And then the second is when we don't have the ball, then in those moments we have to be a really stingy and good defensive team and try to take away their strengths and manage it. So for me there's layers to us being able to do that. I think we are capable of doing it. We've got to eliminate mistakes, set pieces, things that have cost us over the course of the early part of this season. And then we're going to have to deal with, like I said, a good attack. And so there's no reason why we can't do it, but you got to be able to execute and make good decisions and execute for 90 minutes against a team that's going to ask some interesting questions to us, which which I think is good for our group. Is whether you look at it that, I think the same as we look at Tigres and teams like this. We're going to hit a series of games now where you get some interesting teams that on the ball are going to create some good situations for us to have to deal with.
Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Greg. Thank you so much for your time. As you start to get players like Joseph back, how do you deal with players that have, stepped into those roles and have performed well? Is the idea to keep riding the hot hand, or to kind of shift towards an established 11 that you have in your mind? Thank you.
No, candidly, they will shift towards the vision of the group that I think we're going to look to get to. Because when you're talking about Joe, there isn't anyone on our team that does what Joe does for us, and we need that. We need that skill set whenever we can. And so once he is prepared to continue to move forward in the right direction, Joe becomes a really important piece to what we're doing. I mean, it gives us a transition game. It gives us it gives us some more depth threat. It opens up spaces for us. Joe's qualities they change the picture so much for us that someone like Joe is someone we will transition what we're doing to be able to get his qualities out there, his quality and his qualities. And so guys are competing right now to be in the mix. We have a lot of games. We're going to need everybody, and everybody's putting forward their best version of what they can bring to this table and to this team as we continue to move forward. But I mean, if we're talking about Joe, his qualities are so unique to what we need in this team that we want to get him ready and we need him on the field.
Christian has scored in the last 3 games. Are you starting to see the version of him that you wanted to get when you guys signed him? Is it starting to fit into the system and understand the system a little bit?
Yeah, there's definitely some things that I think he's getting more comfortable with, which is holding his higher position a little bit longer. When to set up on the strong side center back, when to get to the backside center back. He had a couple really good runs that he got himself to the near post in the last game. The one was the goal, the other was a redirect at the near post that was a little off. So we're starting to see, these moments where he's getting into these finishing positions that we really need him to get into, and he's not finding himself in lower midfield positions where he can't get to those positions. And so those are good steps in the right direction for sure. And the more chances that we see Christian getting, then the more I think we all, and that includes you guys, should feel like he's making the right steps, to be the finisher or the goal scorer we need. And now it's more quality opportunities for him, more clinical finishing once he gets those opportunities. Those types of things are where we need to be. We showed him some details of things that I think can help him out through the video stuff the other day, and I look forward to seeing him try to apply those moments as we continue this weekend.
Lastly, go ahead, Christian.
Thank you. Hi, Coach. Thank you for your time. And what do you think of Matheus Nascimento first few minutes on the pitch? We see more of him against Orlando.
Yeah, I think Nasi he's coming along and he's settling into the group, and you can see kind of, I think his feel for both the team, his teammates, the game, the world that he's living in now, which is maybe different than where he was before. It's just starting to see him kind of settle into the group and continue to have a better understanding of what his roles are going to look like when we don't have the ball, both defensively and but also in the attacking side of things, getting into those right positions, positioning himself where we expect him to be and where he needs to be and where his teammates kind of expect him to be. Those things are definitely coming along for him. I saw some in each of these games, I've seen these little flashes of things that can help our team. And then I see some things that look like a young player that's adapting to a new team and a new league and a new environment. And he's thinking about a lot of things. I saw in the last game, he came out and really competed to try to keep some balls alive and looked physical. I hadn't seen that from him just yet. And then he gets in that game and he was really dueling for some things in the air and trying to, again, keep some things alive. He targeted some really good moments where he was able to play balls into his feet and he was cleanly laying them to people or setting them off to a runner coming through. So He was just unfortunate because he really had an opportunity to put Gabe in on a breakaway at one point in the game where he does a good job of taking it under pressure, gets on the half turn. He has almost a half a field to be able to lead Gabe into. Unfortunately, it got cut out. But so there's these good flashes that we're seeing as he continues to settle in. Listen, one of the things is he's been brought here. He's a young player, and it's important that we give him the tools and the opportunity to settle in and become the best version of what he can be from us, and not just throw him out there and let him figure it out and sink or swim type of a moment. He's a young player who needs to grow, and I think he can grow into becoming a forward who can really help us. But I think he needs the proper steps in the growth, and he needs the space to be able to do that.
Go ahead, Damon.
Just to follow up on Tucker, the growth you see from him last year to this year, what has it been, and you see sort of now what you guys envision watching in UCLA?
Yeah, Tucker is what he brings to the table is he's a super competitive guy on both sides of the ball. He's cerebral about how he plays the game. When we're talking to him about positions and movements and working in partnership with whether it's Diego or the guys around him, he's really aware and he understands. So he helps the system function in certain ways that he's really grown into. The second is he's got a bit of a wiggler kind of capacity, which is a guy who can get you out of a tight situation, spin away, get the ball out of a tight area into a new space and help you to keep the game flowing, keep possession, get you to the other side, things like that. Those are his qualities that we've seen, that we like, and that he brings. The next step for guys like Tucker is to be able to turn possession moments into real attacking moments, into how to become that 10 who has the feeling of slipping a ball into the next line, really receiving the ball instead of 5 yards lower, receive it 5 to 7 yards higher, and now what was a possession is now an attack. And these are things that we're working just with him to be able to recognize these things in the game, and then it's the quality of the final action. He's been in some really good positions, and in the last game he was in an incredible position. He chose himself to shoot, and if he would have just slipped Diego in that moment, Diego's in probably one-on-one with the keeper with a really good look, and it's just that final decision for him. If he chooses B instead of A being himself, he probably has an assist. We score a goal. He looks really clever in that moment, and we showed that to him. So it's things like that the next level. A lot of players can be good and tidy in the possession, but to be a guy who really impacts the final action is another question and another ask. And that's what we're trying to get from Tucker, is to be able to really change the speed of the game in that final action. He has some of those qualities for sure, and now it's just continuing to grow and recognize the best solution in the situation sometimes and then execute upon it. But he's shown a lot of growth in that way. And what he brings for us on the attacking side is he adds a little bit of somebody who can get out of tight situations with a little bit of a spin or a little bit of a dribble or a little bit of a scoop past people, where our other guys are guys who typically are playing fast and 1 and 2 touch. Tucker has a little bit of something that is uniquely different, that is a shifty kind of a play that has been nice for us to have at times, for sure.
Great. Thanks for your time, Greg.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone.